folks, and welcome back to the podcast. Your host, Joe Jordan Love here. So, aside from predictions, I think we can say sports is in good hands this time of the season. But Texas Rangers have won the World Series. They closed it out last night in Game 5 against the Arizona Diamondbacks, 5-0. 5-0. And, the first in franchise history. Great to see for stupid Siri. Ellis Garcia. Yes, I've been getting his name wrong on this podcast, but Garcia, Seager, Garver, their manager as well. Great job for that team. Um, you know, better Texas team won. I think, people much more happy that it was the Rangers and not the Astros repeating. I mean, now, I saw a report saying that this World Series was among the lowest ratings in World Series history. I think now baseball is in for a while, it's been a weird period of baseball because with rule changes and stuff, for a while it's been about hits like home runs or strikeouts. There's not a lot of, base hits. There is, but baseball's been in a weird phase for years. So, I don't know. I get it because you have one team win its first in franchise history. You had two good stories going into this year. But Astros, Braves, Dodgers, Phillies, those teams, and that cheating phase the Astros did, you felt like it kind of took people out of the phase as well for baseball. But glad for the Rangers, it's a very good road to get here. They did not look great at the end of the regular season, but, they beat the Rays, they beat the number one seed Baltimore Orioles, and then they beat the Astros in 7, coming hit in Arizona. That's the other kicker. On the road, they close out in Arizona 5-0, and particularly Corey Seager, great for him. Named World Series MVP. All leaning towards Sorry, I'm not listening to Spider-Man on the podcast. Nelson Cruz, there you go. He retired as well. But yeah, great for him as well, ending his career on a high note. Now, Arizona, gotta give credit to. You know, they beat Milwaukee, they beat the Dodgers, and then they beat the Phillies in Game 7. So, when they looked in the dust after losing and falling behind 2-0, but they rallied back to tie up and ultimately win. The last two to take it, they just felt unmatched here against Texas after a great Game 1. But, yeah. Well, I mean, you could just sense, games 3 through 5, Texas showed why there was a bit of a leap and bound over them, over Arizona. And, yes, we could say that if they didn't take out or they didn't substitute in Garcia for pitching in Game 7, the Diamondbacks would have probably lost and would have been Phillies and Rangers. Diamondbacks got it done, so credit to them. They just fell short in the end. So, major changes in with the Raiders in Las Vegas. So, I literally saw this news right before I fell asleep the other night, and I was just, whoa. So, the New England regime has ended already in Las Vegas. So, or the Patriots regime. So, Dave Ziegler fired as GM. Champ Kelly will take over as GM in their duties. Josh McDaniels fired as head coach. Linebackers coach Antonio Pierce, former Super Bowl champion with the Giants, he will take over as interim coach. You can tell Max Crosby has a own confidence in him. And they also fired their offense coordinator, Mick Lombardi. And I want to pull up the name really quick because I want to share the information best I can. So let's see. Well, hard agree. Leaf was a play caller already, but now will take over, or was an assistant, I think. Either way, he is now the interim offense coordinator for the Raiders, so very interesting development to say. So, and to top it all, the icing on the cake, Jimmy Garoppolo, who leads the league in picks, is benched now for Aiden O'Connell, the rookie at Purdue. Now, I mean, let me just say this, that it's unfortunate that the regime didn't work out, and with the Raiders, I mean, look, odds are we've seen the Bill Belichick coaching tree. Odds are they just don't pan out as head coaches on their own. And, I'll go on the record and say I was wrong about last year. I said it on the podcast saying the Raiders were a team last year I could see with their talent hoisting the Lombardi at the end of last season, but in the end it was Chiefs. And Derek Carr showed flashes, but you could tell that there was something off about the pairing of him and Josh McDaniels. And you could see this year, well, with the way they started, and then, rallying back to make it 3-3. But their offense, their only time they scored 20 plus points was against the Patriots. And that was due to a safety by Max Crosby. So, I mean, the outcome just did not meet expectations. Josh McDaniels, that's the other thing. Ray's offense coordinator for many years. The offense working well, but it didn't work out as we intended. It didn't work out in Denver. He had a very good stint for the Rams when they were in St. Louis. So ultimately, he came back to the Patriots, and it was the best thing he could have done. But last, unfortunately, McDaniels could not make the rounds in Vegas as we expect. Now, I should also say, I saw a report saying the money wasn't well spent with John Gruden and McDaniels in those big money contracts. Gruden, first year wasn't good. Second year, they did well, but floundered down the stretch. And then 2021, they had a hot start. They were 3-0, lost to Trey, and then ultimately those. We can all say that if there was discoveries about or deep dives about everyone in the league, we'd be able to find something fishy about all more people. That's all I'll say. But nonetheless, who knows what the record may have been or wound up at the end of the season if John Gruden was still their coach. Maybe would they have made the playoffs? Who knows? But we don't know which Bisaccia got them there. There was that story. So, great news for Raiders fans. Alan O'Connell flashed in preseason and, to the point where he sure won the backup job originally and could challenge Jimmy G. And we know Jimmy G hasn't looked great this season, despite being more healthy than usual. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, his only start versus the Chargers, he did have some hiccups, but he did, with the Raiders, still have a chance to win that game or tie up, but couldn't get it done. So, still, how he goes with these weapons, let's face it, they still have Adams. They did not trade him. Hunter Renfrow, Jacoby Myers, Josh Jacobs, Michael Mayer, Austin Hooper. They do have talent on that side of the ball. Max Crosby, no drill. So, we'll see. But kudos for Raiders fans, for Raiders Nation. We'll see how it goes. So, unfortunately, I said I did not get to it. But before we get into the picks for NFL Week 8 or Week 9, I failed to mention more about basketball. So we are back into season for the NBA. And interesting enough, we've already had one guy score over 50 points. Zach LaVine, despite a loss. That is something. And, last time we did have the Battle of LA. Between the Lakers and the Clippers, and Lakers won that in very good fashion. Russell, LeBron, Reeves, they had good games. So, good there. But credit to Kawhi and Paul George. Paul George is off to a stout start for the season, so very good. Yeah, Paul George, Cam Thomas, he's scored, I believe, at least 30 points a game in each of games thus far for the Nets, so very good. Wembanyama's, showing flashes so far his rookie year. High is 21 points for Houston, the Rockets, but he is showing signs, and his length and helping them beat the Suns the other night. Very good. All right, well, don't want to waste too much more time, but let's get into the predictions now for NFL Week 9. So, they have my highest prediction rate of this season for NFL Week 8, 12-4. Despite some bonehead picks, could have been 13-3, 14-2. Coulda, woulda, shoulda, but win or we learn. So we got some good games lined up for this week, which we shall go over now. So, starting with tonight, we got the mailman, Will Levis, making his second straight start, going to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh 2.5-point favorites at home. Will Levis had a great debut on Sunday. 4 touchdowns. The only person to do that besides Brent Tarkenton and his fellow, or his Titans alumni, Marcus Mariota. Yeah, in Pittsburgh, this will be much more of a test. In Pittsburgh, Cameron Hayward activated off IR. So good news for them. They'll get him back. It was a dicey game against the Jags, but it wasn't enough. This is tough because Matt Canada, that offense, the statistics, I wasn't expecting their offense to be groundbreaking, but, it is odd when you look at that offense, because the defense has been keeping them in games, but that offense is not looking well statistically. One of the worst offenses in the NFL. Next to last looks to be, you know, you know, Levis to complement Derrick Henry. That was why Ryan Tannehill worked so well. To start in Tennessee. Hmm. I mean, I gotta ride with the momentum. Just feels I gotta go with the mailman. Continue 24-20 in Pittsburgh. will be a great game in Germany. Dolphins facing the Chiefs in Germany. Chiefs 1.5 point favorites. Now, Tyreek Hill revenge game. You know, now obviously the big questions will be Patrick Mahomes says, he did have the flu symptoms for the Broncos game, and then, his hand got stepped on. Didn't look bad, but he ended up wearing a glove on his non-throwing hand, so, just something to keep an eye on. But I just think, in Germany, besides Kelsey, that's the kicker. Besides Kelsey, who else can step up and for weapons on that offense? That's always the thing. Because, if they take Hill away, which, speed kills. If you take Hill away or pay more attention to Hill, you got Jalen Waddle. So, and, very good running backs. It's going to be a neutral field, neutral site. So, yeah. I got to go with the Dolphins here. 27-24 in Germany. Just seems right there. So, Vikings going to Atlanta. Jaren Hall will make the start in Atlanta. Falcons 4.5-point favorites at home. So, Pierce, it's going to be Taylor Heinicke versus Jaren Hall. Now, here's the weird thing. I liked more what I saw from Taylor Heinicke than what I've basically seen Desmond Ridder do for a while. So he's going to make the start. And last year again, as the Commanders quarterback, he did a good job. So he has. Now I will say the defense of the Vikings has been better than it was last season. And plus, Cordarrelle Patterson, that's always a little kicker, former Vikings offense, I will say they have better weapons, but I just think first start at home, Taylor Heinicke gets a win, 23-17. Falcons win. This should be a fun one as well. Ravens hosting the Seahawks at home. Ravens 5-point favorites at home. You know, I was a fool for saying the Ravens were going to get upset on Sunday. This should be a fun one. Bit low scoring though. Laird Williams is going to be unique, and you have that running attack of Kenneth Walker. Should be fun, but Lamar Jackson, is playing in great level right now. So, I got the Ravens 24-20 at home. Seahawks cover, but Ravens win. Browns hosting the Cardinals. Browns almost got the win against the Seahawks, but ball that went off Jamal Williams' helmet is the deciding factor. So, with Josh Dobbs being traded, it's either going to be Clayton Tune or Kyler Murray. Versus the Browns in Cleveland. And, the Browns pretty much have the best or one of the best defenses in the league. Depends who you ask, but Browns 8-point favorites at home, rebound league to get to back over 500. So, or say above 500. Because I think they're 4-3. So, Browns win 26-17. This is a tricky one. Rams at Packers. Packers 3-point favorites at home. Matthew Stafford, we mentioned, has a torn UCL in his throwing thumb when they got mauled by Cowboys. So, but the weird thing is, so it seems like it's going to be Brett Rippon. The way it seems. The weird thing is Packers offense has looked abysmal and sad for the last number of weeks. For the longest time, they couldn't get a point versus the Broncos and Vikings. Now, Vikings defense, like I said, has gotten better, but the Broncos defense, has been very odd this season. So, I'm going to say ay, ay, ay. Well, after laying that egg versus, let's see. So, I don't want to pick too many upsets like it did last week. So. But, I mean, you got Nakua, you got for Cup, and you got that defense, you know. But I'm going to go with the Packers here, 21-14, although I'm not very confident in that pick. So there you go. Texans hosting the Buccaneers. Texans 2.5-point favorites at home against Baker Mayfield and the Bucs. Now, the Bucs have that extra rest. You know, after being a Hail Mary shy of upsetting the Bills in Buffalo, Texans, lost on that last second field goal to lose to the Panthers. You know, hmm. CJ Stroud has been playing very good, but so yeah, I'm gonna go with Texans. Bucs can't run the ball. That's the thing. They can't run the ball, and Dameon Pierce, you know, CJ Stroud, I think will be good just enough. 2017 Texans win. Patriots hosting the Commanders. Patriots 3.5-point favorites at home. Boston, Miami. Um, Washington put up a very good fight against the Eagles. But so they trade Chase Young and Montez Sweat. That offensive line still has issues. I mean, despite no Judon, they still have, very capable defense. I will say that. Very capable defense. I think at home, I'm going with the Patriots 24-17. Patriots get the win. Saints hosting the Bears. Tyson Bagent going to start again. Derek Carr showed performance we expected Saints to have. And Tyson Bagent, gonna show his weaknesses as he did show his weaknesses versus the Chargers, and I think it's for him as well, it's going to be a learning process. So 27-16. Saints win, but Bears hang around for a bit. Colts going to Carolina. Colts 2.5-point favorites on the road. Gardner Minshew. Okay, so Panthers, off the high, their first win, only 15 points. Gardner Minshew and that running attack of that dual head threat, I think will be very good, and they overcome Carolina after that low. Now they got the high. Now it's going to be Bill low. So 21-16. Colts win. Giants going to the Raiders. I just mentioned all the changes with the Raiders. So yeah. And O'Connell for Daniel Jones, they said should be back in Las Vegas, 3-point favorites. Or the Raiders. There's always a thing with interim head coaches, comes out of the gate, it looks good. Last year with Colts, we saw Jeff Saturday, and with against the Raiders, looked good. So I'm going with the Raiders here, 23-16. Raiders win. And another very good, very intriguing game for the afternoon. Cowboys going to the Eagles. Key for the NFC East and probably for the NFC. Eagles 3-point favorites at home. Now, look at both games last year, and both were interesting. Ultimately, though, last year and the end when was hurt, Minshew came in and still had very good way with the defense of the Cowboys. Ultimately, the Cowboys won that, but get the point. And it was a very good game. So, at the Cowboys here, and, since the loss to the 49ers, Dak has been looking on point, hasn't been pretty, but, against Chargers and against the Rams. But he's not facing an LA team this week. And, we can say Chargers and Rams sadly are not great teams this year. So, now against the Commanders, and I think we can clarify that big plays if there's a hole for the Eagles defense is big plays. And defense, in the Jets game, defense can ultimately, stifle the Eagles offense. Interesting. I'm going with the Cowboys here. 31-28. All right, 31-27. There we go. Cowboys win. This just feels like a weird game, on the road. This is odd. This is very odd. No, I'm going to go with sticking my guts. I'm going with the Eagles here, 20-24. There we go. Well, I can always change at the end. So, Bills at Bengals, Sunday Night Football. This is very good. Bills 3-point underdogs. So last year there was obviously the Damar Hamlin situation, and then so that game, like they said, didn't count. In the playoffs, they met in Buffalo in the snow, but Bengals took care of that game there. So, something. So, now they're in Cincy. Bengals have won 3 straight. While the Bills, extra rest. That's the other thing. Bengals, had their way with the they had their way with 49ers defense. One win shrink has come to an end. Tough. I'm going with the Bills. Here though, extra rest. Rasul Douglas, them training him, we'll see. But I feel more confident picking this 27-24 than the Cowboys pick, I will say that. And then to end week 9, Chargers going to the Jets. Chargers 3-point favorites. You know, Jets have been looking very good. You know, and it wasn't pretty, but they got the win against the Giants in overtime. And above 500. Chargers, that offense, just Herbert, you know, Cameron Dicker won't miss that field goal or miss two. Although, again, I still feel bad for Graham Gano. I'm going to say this bit of a tight one, but 23. Whew, that's on the line. I'm going to say 22-20. Chargers win. And there we go. So, wait. Let me tally up. So, 1, 2. One, two, three. Hmm. 1, 2, 3 upsets. Damn. Let's see. Yeah, Jets or Cowboys? I'm choosing for my last upset. Yeah, I'm gonna go with sticking with the Cowboys. 30-26. Final score, Cowboys. Okay, there you go. But wouldn't be doing due diligence without talking about college games going up this weekend. So I don't think we got a couple ranked first ring matchups. So I'll say Rutgers. I like what Rutgers has been doing this year, but against a team ranked number one college football playoff rankings, it's going to be tough. At least it's in Rutgers. Texas versus Kansas State, big matchup in the Big 12. So keep that. Notre Dame and Clemson. Clemson hasn't been the same this year, but if there is any course of action to turn around, it's against Notre Dame. Army versus Air Force. Army has done some good things this year, but Air Force has done a very good job. So see about that. Penn State, Maryland, Georgia, Missouri. You know, but I think the bit two big ones, Washington, USC, Michael Penix versus Caleb Williams. That's going to be very good in the Coliseum. That's going to be tough. And then LSU, Alabama. That's going to be fun. Fun as well. But yeah, that's part 2 of Sports Movie Topics this week. Again, sorry for late for the other day for part 1, Halloween festivities. But thank you guys all for joining me. I'm your host, Joe 2 in Love. Hope you guys have a fun one. And I'll start doing shorts again. I'll probably have a short out tomorrow, so stay tuned. But adios, guys. Have a good one. Peace.